Hi, everyone. My name is Eddie Curry. I'm a Director of Career Development for Home Sale. And today we're going to be talking about mobile homes. I think there's a lot of confusion sometimes when it comes to mobile homes. So hopefully this will help you guys understand the difference between a mobile home and a modular home. So let's get started. I'm sharing my screen. Can everyone see it? We tested. Okay, perfect. Thank you. If you have any questions, let me know. You can type them in the chat box. I don't know how easily I'll see the question, but you can interrupt me as well. If you have something right at the top of mind, I'll do that. I'll not interrupt, and then I'll forget my question 10 minutes later. So if there's a question you have to ask, interrupt. Okay, here we go. Want to discuss real property versus personal property when it comes to mobile homes, manufactured homes, modular homes, and manufactured homes. Most people assume that a mobile home, when on a foundation, is automatically considered real property. That's not true. It is your responsibility as a real estate professional to determine whether the home sitting on the foundation and land is actually real property or personal property. Now, how can we tell? But modular homes are considered real property and are attached to a permanent foundation. Manufactured homes or mobile homes is a nicer way of calling a mobile home is a manufactured home, are considered personal property. They can become real property, but there's a process to making a manufactured home personal or real property. The easiest way to determine if the home is either a modular or manufactured, I find a lot of people don't even know the difference when you're looking at it, is to look at the home from the basement, the crawl space, and if the home is built on a steel frame, then it is a manufactured home. Okay, no doubt about it. If it's built on a steel frame, it is a manufactured home. Factory built modular homes are factory built, constructed in 2, 3, or more dimensional sections. Modular homes are built to either local or state building codes. And we're going to talk about the difference between the two, manufactured and modular. And they have a higher standard than a HUD requirement, which is manufactured home, goes by HUD requirements. There is not a VIN assigned to a modular home, and there will not be a HUD VIN plate or stickers. Upon completion, they are transported to the site on a flatbed truck. Okay, the modular is removed from the flatbed truck, and home is joined together on a permanent foundation. There is not a tow hitch, also known as a tongue, and there are no wheels attached to the actual wood structure, and it's a wood frame structure. When you look up at it from in the basement, you're going to see wood joists, no metal whatsoever on that undercarriage. Okay. It will assume the characteristics of a site-built home following local building codes. It's basically it's a home. It's real property. It's attached to the seal plate. It's attached to the foundation, and it's placed there permanently. Now, what's the difference between a manufactured home? What is different from that to a modular? Manufactured home or mobile home is factory built, just like a modular. They're built in a factory under controlled conditions in 1 or 2 dimensional sections, same thing. Most consumers refer to these as mobile homes, but the real estate industry refers to them as manufactured homes. Manufactured homes built after 1976 are held to a higher standard and are under the Federal Building Code administered by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. There should be a HUD plate on all manufactured homes. If it comes in 2 sections, there's a HUD plate on each section with a serial number on each section, usually located on the outside of each half near the marriage point. Where the marriage wall is, the HUD plates are usually right next to the marriage wall. And very visible. They can sometimes be hard to locate and may also be found under the home. It's also stamped on the frame of the home, or there's one inside. Well, there's always one inside unless the inside of the home has been remodeled. There will also be a HUD label and serial number in the interior kitchen cabinet doors, under the sink, utility or water heater door. The manufactured home, if it has been remodeled, then they may have removed the plates. Okay, so manufactured homes will have a HUD plate somewhere on it in several different locations. So that's another sign that it's a manufactured home. Modular homes will not. There's no HUD, there's no VIN number, there's no serial number to that particular modular home. Prior to reselling, the company selling the mobile home should have already taken their certificate of origin to the DMV to turn that into a VIN number. When a reseller of mobile homes, manufactured homes, when they get that mobile home in, they get it in with a certificate of origin, which shows who built the home, where it was built, all the specifics. They take that and turn it into a take it to the DMV and turn it into an actual VIN, and then a title is issued for that particular home. Okay, don't assume that's been done. You know how you have these manufactured home communities popping up on a foundation, selling them as stick-built homes or modular home? Sometimes the seller of the actual mobile home doesn't bother to turn it into a to show that there's actually a VIN number. They just ignore that part and just sell it to you, saying, oh yeah, it's real property now. It's not real property unless that VIN number or title is retired. So some of these communities are really creating some issues. I ran into this several times. Let's see. The listing agent is responsible. You as the listing agent is responsible for ensuring that the homeowner has the title when you list the property. That's the first question to ask. Can I have a copy of your title? If they have the title, it's still personal property. It is not, even if it's attached to land, even if they bought it with it being attached to land as real estate, it's not. That particular manufactured home is still considered personal property until that title is retired. Once the title is retired, it is then personal property. I'm sorry, real property. If the title is missing, then you can use the serial numbers on the VIN to obtain the VIN number. The serial numbers are on the HUD plates, and they're also on the inside of the house. Which you will need those numbers to get the title from the DMV. Okay.
Significantly more effective at delaying disease progression versus a non-steroidal aromatase inhibitor or fulvestrant alone. Kisqali can cause lung problems.
Someone asking a question or? Okay, thanks, Julie. Upon completion, manufactured homes are transported to the property with the certificate of origin or the VIN, the title, joined by its permanent chassis, which is the steel frame that it sits on. It will still be on its steel frame. And attached to the permanent foundation. However, they are still considered personal property. The title must be retired for that to be considered real property. It will also still have the tongue attached. It will also still have the wheels attached to the steel foundation or the chassis. The major structural component of the dwelling, as I said, is the steel undercarriage. it will still have that. These wheels, the wheels and tow hitch is removed, but can still be reinstalled and moved. That mobile home could be moved again. That manufactured home could be moved. So there's a couple ways that they ensure that that doesn't happen in the future. Nothing like getting a loan on something and moving your house. So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. The lenders are very adamant about making sure that you can't move that once you do set it, place it on a foundation. Here's an example of the HUD plates, what they look like on the sidings on each side of the property, on each side of the each section, and then a HUD label under the sink or cabinet door. There's an example of what that looks like. As you can see, each side has its own serial number. Okay. We're gonna play a little game. So feel free to unmute and answer the questions here. The very first top left picture, what is that? What do you think that is? Is it a manufactured or modular home?
Modular.
Modular.
Manufacturer.
Okay, we have modular manufacturer.
Mhm.
That one is a manufactured home. It's hard to tell. That's my point. It's hard to tell. Desiree, you look disappointed. The next one. Oh, look, I gave you the answer. The next one is a manufactured home. It is a double wide. Okay. Now, what's the one on the bottom left? Come on, don't worry about being wrong.
Manufactured.
Is it a module?
Okay, that one is a manufactured. You can't tell. This is my point. Now, this next one, I know what you are going to say, but remember, it's hard to tell. What's the one in the middle, the big two-story?
Modular.
Modular.
Modular home.
Wow.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They can be beautiful, and so can the manufactured homes too. And then the last one.
Manufactured.
Manufactured.
It's a modular, isn't it?
It's a modular.
Module.
My point is, it's hard to tell. That's why you need to look at the undercarriage of the property. One of my agents sold a property at the end of my on the next couple streets over, and he says, "Oh, it's a really nice home." I said, "So I know a lot about that home because I watched them put it in." And I said to him, "Is that a manufactured home or is that a modular home?" "Oh, no, it's a modular. It's a modular home." "Are you sure?" I said, "I know the home specifically." I said, "I can guarantee you that is a manufactured home. It is a mobile home. It looks like a modular home. It's a beautiful home. They all really are. It's big." And I said, "You need to go back and look at the undercarriage. What was the undercarriage made of?" "Oh, I don't know." So he went back to look, and it was an actual manufactured home, which the process is different because you need to make sure the title is retired to that property. Well, on that particular property, the title was not retired. So, and that had sold, even though it had previously sold to someone else and it was lost in foreclosure, that property still was a manufactured home and it was personal property. So when the bank foreclosed on the property the first time for $184,000, they actually were only foreclosing, or they sold the land for $184,000. The ex-owners, when this agent went to get them to sign off on the property, saying that, it's no longer personal property, we're going to retire the title, the husband did it, but the wife refused. She's like, "It's personal property, it's mine, I'm coming to get it." So these are the issues you can run into if you don't retire the title. That bank didn't follow proper procedure, and it's really not the bank's fault because when the people set the property in here, they didn't have a certificate of origin, which means it was never turned into a title, so there was no title to retire. And there's a lengthy process if that happens. So first question you ask is there a title? Is the title retired? I need a copy of the retired title. So you won't be able to sell it unless you have those answers, okay? Thanks for
Eddie-
playing along. Yes.
Eddie, can you say more about retiring a title? Like, who does that? Is it by choice? Why and when?
Yep, we're gonna,
Thanks.
yep, the next couple slides, we're gonna talk about retiring the title. You go to the DMV and you retire the title through the DMV through a process. And yes, it's an on-purpose thing, because if you want to turn your personal property into real property by attaching it to the foundation, it has to be retired. You can leave it on a foundation and leave it as personal property, but you can never sell the two together as real property. You can sell the land and you can sell it as a mobile, but mobile home lending is difficult to get. So if it's real property, it'll appraise just like it would a stick-built home or something that's real. So you need to retire the title if you're going to sell it. I have people buying this stuff in sheriff sale all the time around here. I know I have a friend who buys several, and he's like, "What can I do? I don't have a title." There's nothing you can do. You can request one from the DMV. If the DMV has a record of it, they'll send it to you, then retire it. But I know I went through one down the road here where there was no certificate of origin even issued for this property. It went through 2 loans, 2 mortgages. They paid it off and then they got another mortgage on it. The bank didn't question it, but when it came time for me to sell their property for them, there was no, I'm sorry, you guys are over here. I should be looking at the camera because all your pictures are over here. When it came for me to list the property, I didn't have a retired title. So it was just a mobile home, personal property sitting on land. In order for them to get their title, and there was no certificate of origin turned into a title, we had to actually go to court. And the court process took us 3 months. And the judge had to deem them as the owner of the property. It was a lengthy process. It cost about $1,500 to go through the process. And you know how they always say, don't practice law. They don't want realtors practicing law. These people were older couple. I'm not going to say what I consider older, but they were an older couple. We went to court. I helped them. They were scared to death. They didn't want to get up in front and talk to the judge. I got up and started talking to the judge. And he said to me, "Are you a lawyer?" I said, "No, I'm a realtor." "Well, then sit down. I need to talk to the owners." Oh God, I was so embarrassed. So yeah, they don't want you practicing law. That's absolutely for sure. So let's talk about financing. We'll get more into retiring the title here in a little bit. Traditional banks will not lend money on a manufactured home that are in park, but they will lend when they are on their own land and the title is retired. Okay. There are specialized mobile home financing agencies that will lend money on manufactured homes in a park. You can sell manufactured homes in a park. The title doesn't have to be retired because you're selling a manufactured home in a park. It's on someone else's land. It's not permanently attached to the land as far as real property goes. It's still personal property. Mobiles on their own land that can't retire the title do not typically get financing. So you own a mobile home double wide on your own land. You won't be able to get financing for that property because it is personal property. You'll have to go through a specialized mobile home lender, and they're going to have to pay typically a lot more money for their money to borrow money from that lender. Without a retired title, your buyer is also not likely to obtain title insurance. Buyers are typically limited to large down payments, conventional loans, and some homes that appear to be stick-built homes can actually start out as a mobile home or manufactured, and I'll talk more about this. If the owner has remodeled and added to the home around the steel frame, this is still considered a mobile or manufactured home. Okay. The bank will not lend on the property. So I had an agent who had a listing. It started out right in the middle of the home. It started out as a manufactured home. They remodeled the home all around the manufactured home to where the original walls of the manufactured home no longer existed. Okay. But the foundation in the center was the steel frame. So when the appraiser came in to do a loan, and I didn't realize that he had done this, the agent, or I would have warned him. When the appraiser came in and says, well, this is a manufactured home, mobile home, we can't lend you money on this. It's still considered manufactured. If you're going to remodel a double wide or a manufactured home, remove the frame because it's still considered a modular manufactured. And then good luck at that point. They couldn't retire the title. They couldn't find a title. There's nothing they can do. The house has been there for 15, 25 years. There's nothing they could do to prove that it was, that it was retired or anything. So they can't sell that property to this day. They still can't sell it. They can do cash if someone's willing to take that. I would be afraid to buy it cash because when I want to sell it down the future, I'm going to have the same trouble. So, okay. Retiring the title. Here you go, Glenn. The title to the manufactured home is retired by the seller through a process by the DMV. You just take the title to the DMV, tell them you want to retire the title. There is a form they complete. Done. Simple, simple, simple process. And I think it's like $34. I don't even think it costs that much to retire a title. If the age of the home is over 10 years old, and when the DMV runs a check on your title and they find when they find nothing in the files and you have proof of this status, where they can't find anything on your home, whether it's retired, they can't find the title, they can't find anything, then sometimes that paper saying no records found with that number on it, the HUD number, serial number, or VIN number, that sometimes is enough proof for the bank, and they'll move forward and let you sell it as real property. Okay, check with your lender. The lender that I used for these sales allowed that. This was his process. Not all lenders will allow it. So check with your lender. And if you have to, switch to a lender that will allow you to do it. So if there's no records found and the home is over 10 years old, and you get a paper saying that, then the bank should let you move on with the purchase of the property through traditional lending. Bank will require foundation of homes to be inspected and certified by a foundation engineer with the foundation inspection certification that the home is tied down properly, wheels and hitch have been removed, because the bank, they don't want you to move it once they give you money on it, and the home cannot be removed or pulled away. If it is negotiable, but this is typically paid for by the buyer. The buyer pays for the foundation inspection, and usually it's between $300 to $700. The last one I did was $350, I think. All they do is make sure it's tied down properly, wheels are removed, hitch is removed, and it's not going to blow away or be pulled away easily. Okay? And it doesn't necessarily have to be attached to a seal plate around the fence. It could be just strapped down to blocks. Okay, as long as it's tied down in some way, that with those hurricane straps, just so it's not going to be able to be pulled away or moved. Listing a manufactured home. This is something that's in a park. It's a manufactured home. You know it is. Make sure the seller has contacted the park management company. Make them aware that they are selling their home. Some parks require 30 days notice from the seller or more. Okay. Has anyone sold mobile homes in a park before? I have, yeah. It's pretty simple. Oh no, my dogs are gonna bark here, guys, sorry. Mail lady's delivering a package and she's about to ring my doorbell. So get contact information for the park manager first. Get a set of the park regulations, rules and regulations, because they're gonna have to sign that prior to buying the mobile home. and signing the lease agreement with the mobile home park. The park application, you'll need that as well. Upload all that into Bright. That way it's ready to go. It's all there. The buyer they don't have to beg anything from you for anything. They can just go right into Bright and get all the documentation. Also, check with the manager to learn their rules on putting up signs, or if you're going to host an open house, sometimes they have rules about that. In addition to all of the typical listing paperwork, you will also need a manufactured home addendum to the listing contract. Now, this is listing the property. The information that is needed on the paperwork, sorry, I think I forgot to hit record. The information that is needed on the paperwork comes from the title to the mobile home and off the home's manufacturer panel. Okay. 1 second. The panel is usually located under the kitchen sink or somewhere in the laundry room near the utility behind the door of some kind. It's there somewhere. Once you have the make, model, park name, approximate width and length of any upgrade features like a deck, for instance, you can run comps and or reach out to a local mobile home financing expert. If you do both, you might have a better idea of what the home is worth. You can run a CMA on a mobile home sold in a park. It's very easy to do. Just run it on Bright like you normally would a CMA for a stick-built home. For a rental, you can do a CMA on a rental as well. Just run it within a Bright. Okay. Selling a manufactured home in a park. Use the standard agreement of sale of a manufactured home on leased land. That's the PA form. I don't know what the Maryland form is called. There is no transfer tax on manufactured home sales. You know how you have tax on a car when you buy a car, they want to know how much you paid so they can charge you tax? Mobile homes, they don't do that. So you don't have to hide the fact of how much you paid for it, like people do with cars. I'm not telling you to cheat the government. I'm just saying that's what they do. So if you paid $40,000 for the mobile home, you paid $40,000 for the mobile home. The DMV does not charge you tax on that $40,000. Research your local area to determine potential lenders and verify who takes care of title transfer. A lot of times I've always had home sale settlements take care of the title transfer. And then we ran to the DMV, to like a DMV, like we have something here called Solid. It's a messenger service. We went there, had everything transferred, so the title could be transferred into the new people's name. If your buyer is financing, usually it's a 15 to 20% down payment on a manufactured home. But lender fees are less, and typically it takes around $10,000 out of pocket to close on a manufactured home in a park. Okay. Ensure the title is transferred by the lender, or ensure your buyer takes care of this through a local notary after settlement, like a notary, a messenger service will work as well. Okay. Selling a manufactured home in a park is really simple, easy. Quick few, $100,000. It's easy, quick. So don't run from them. Do them if you get the opportunity. Just make sure you know what you're doing and you talk to someone who understands the process. Listing a manufactured home on private land. Confirm your seller has retired the title. First thing you do. Make sure they've retired that title, because you run into a lot of trouble if you don't. Prior to listing, or if they still have the title, just have it retired. Pretty simple. So you know whether or not it needs to be a cash deal or if the buyer is able to obtain financing. Again, I would be a little leery to pay cash for a manufactured home without a retired title on a permanent foundation, and it's personal property. I would want it to be all of it real property. So when I go to sell it down the road, I can sell it as real property. In addition to all the typical listing paperwork, you also need manufacturer's home addendum to the listing agreement. Okay. The information that is needed on that paperwork comes from the title to the mobile home and off the home's manufacturer panel. This panel is usually located under the kitchen sink or somewhere in the laundry room, near the utilities, behind a door of some kind. Has anyone sold a manufactured home on private land before? Was it simple? Or did you have a process? Was there a process? No one's done it? Once you have the make, model, park name, approximate width, this looks like a typo, and the length of any upgraded features, a deck, you can run comps like you would a stick-built home. Just run a comp on it as a rancher, okay? Be careful though, if it's not if it's a manufactured home and is being sold as a mobile home, don't list it as a rancher. I think that's confusing. It's not accurate because it really is a mobile home. It's a double wide. So if the title's not retired, you're selling a double wide with land. And it's a process. So get that title retired. Okay. Hold on, I'm frozen. There we go. Selling a manufactured home. Selling a manufactured home on private property or private land. This is the selling portion of this. Okay, the first side was listing, this is selling. Confirm that the seller has retired the title so you know if the buyer needs to pay cash or is able to obtain financing. Do you notice a common theme going on here? Make sure the title is retired. It will make your life so much easier, I swear. If the title has been retired, then in PA, use the typical standard agreement of sale and the manufactured home addendum to the standard agreement of sale. You have a limited number of traditional banks who are willing to lend. All financial types can qualify. So just double check with your banks that they will lend money on a manufactured home with a retired title. Not all lenders will do it, but there are several out there that do. I've never had trouble finding one that did that. Ensure the title is transferred by the lender or ensure your buyer takes care of this to a local notary after settlement. I don't like that line in here either. That line shouldn't be in this slide. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Do we have any questions? Anything you want me to go over again?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
I actually own one next door to me, and it's on a separate parcel that I own, and I inherited the trailer. And I was keeping it as personal property because of the capital gains. There's capital gains involved because I owned half the land with my uncle, and then I inherited the trailer.
Okay.
So I actually, I was going to sell it to my brother-in-law who bailed out a while back. This is before I got my license back. But I had my attorney write up the cost that he's paying for the land and the cost for the trailer. So it was going to be at the title company, and they were going to run right across the street to the Urconic agency to transfer the,
Title.
yeah. And then when I called about retiring it, it's not the problem like with the DMV, because I have the clean title in my name.
Right.
When I called the county, they made it sound like a nightmare getting it all done. It's going to take forever. And
What county are you in? Because I don't want to say that again.
Schuylkill.
Okay. I don't know every county every county, it'll take a nightmare if you don't have that title. But if you go to the DMV, it should be as simple as retiring that title. And is your brother gonna just buy the mobile or the
No,
manufactured,
it's gonna be a package deal.
the land and the manufactured home?
Yeah,
Okay.
because and then the taxes would go up, but they have to come out and reassess everything, and I just said it takes a long time. So I don't see what the difference is of just paying, and then you're only paying a transfer tax on the land portion.
Yeah. Yeah,
And like I said, for tax purposes, it made more sense to keep them for my own capital gains, as well as whoever buys it, the taxes are a lot lower with it as personal property.
and you can find a lender that'll do that for you?
No, I'd have a cash buyer and,
Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. You don't have to retire the title. Yeah.
yeah,
Your brother just needs to understand down the road, if he ever wants to sell it, then
it's
he
not
can
financial.
retire that
Well,
title. but-
he bailed out on it. I'm going in a different direction now. but
Okay, okay. Yeah, no, you can just keep it as personal property and sell it all as a cash deal. That's okay. I
yeah.
don't see why it would be a big deal for the county for you to retire the title. It would be for you because you would have to pay transfer taxes on the larger amount of what you're going to sell the land and the mobile home together for. And you, like you said, it'll require capital gains. But you can put that in a 1031 exchange. Have you looked into that? So nobody
Yeah,
has to
no, but I don't
pay.
want to do that. Like I said, it's either, it's it's a nice lot next to mine, but I wanted to sell it to family or friend or somebody, and I figure if somebody's gonna pay cash, they're gonna live in it. I don't want like a renter doing that next door to me.
Right,
That's why it's not listed publicly, and it's just like word of mouth type of thing.
right. Yep. Yeah, I don't understand the county's problem with you retiring the title.
It's not a problem. It's just,
They
it's hard enough. Like even when I was on the land, we went on 5 years ago, with the right of survivorship, and the county lost the deed and book. Luckily I had a copy of it because they lost it because the attorney called and said they never recorded it. You don't own the land. I said I got
Oh.
a copy of it. It's deed book, page, and they had to go
Wow.
dig it out and
Wow.
gave me a heart attack for quite a
Yeah,
while. But,
I
you
would,
know,
yeah. I would say
they finally
so.
found it, so it's like things disappear.
So it's deeded separately than yours. It's a separate,
Yeah, it's a separate parcel right
Separate
next door to
parcel.
mine.
yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad you found that. So,
Yeah, yeah, it was like very phone call you don't want to get, but luckily I had a copy of it and everything, and it was notarized and
yeah. Yeah, if you don't want to sell it as all of it together as personal or real property, then don't retire the title.
yeah.
You're good. Just sell it cash and you'd have to pay capital gains then on the real property. I don't know about the manufactured. I'm not a tax accountant, so I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, the manufactured is more of the problem because it's both long-term capital gains. So I don't know. It doesn't matter since it's an inheritance.
Okay. I don't think I answered your question, but
No, you did. You know what I mean, that it's all about financing and what you're doing.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I like to play a lawyer, but I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah,
So,
and that's why I had a lawyer write this one up too. And
yeah,
the verbiage, you know what I mean, that of what's what in there.
yeah, I think we all think we're lawyers at some point or another. So,
Hmm.
anyone have anything else? We have
Yeah,
lots of
I
time.
have a
Yeah.
question about the modular homes. Is there anything different about a modular home?
Than a manufactured?
Yeah,
Yes.
like selling it or,
Oh, no, a modular is sold as a stick built. You
okay,
yep,
okay.
you do nothing special for a modular.
okay.
You just write it up like a regular stick built home.
Like a regular deal. Okay, good, thanks.
And I did explain the difference of the two at the beginning.
Okay,
that
I
as
missed the
long
first
as-
couple minutes, sorry. I had
No,
trouble
okay, that's okay. As long as you know that it is a modular, it
getting-
is not on a metal frame,
Right,
which would tell you that it's a modular home. If
right,
it's a metal frame, I don't care what anyone says, it is not a modular home,
okay,
okay?
got it.
If there's wheels attached to it, I don't know how they would be, because a manufacturer or modular comes in on a flatbed truck, not under its own power with wheels and a tongue. It's sat on they're interesting to watch being put together though. If you ever get a chance to watch that process, it's really interesting process. Anybody else have anything else?
Eddie, are the,
Wondering if we can get a copy of the presentation?
Sure. There's some typos in it. I want to talk to Jen and have that fixed. Let me do this. And someone else had another question.
I was just wondering if there are lenders that are probably more likely to finance manufactured homes. If you've got a buyer, like, is there a direction you can go for financing that you can recommend? And also, is there an age of a manufactured home that's older than a specific, let's say more than 10 years? Is it almost impossible to get? It sounds like a home that's newer than 10 years is much more marketable than one that's older than 10. Is there like a general age that it's kind of like, don't even try to finance that?
Yeah, if it's built before 1975, it's not going to have the current HUD standards to it. So if it's even a single wide, if you're trying to sell a single wide or double wide that was built before 1975, banks aren't going to touch it. They're not going to touch it.
Actually, that was 1976. June of 76 is when HUD code went into effect.
76.
June of 76. I was
Okay.
selling modulars and HUDs before I got back into regular real estate.
Okay, good. No, thanks for that date, 76. I've
Mhm.
always just, I think it was in pre-licensing of 75, but I'm not sure of the date now. 76?
Yeah, I believe it was June, but it's 76.
Okay, I'll go by that.
Mhm.
Most of you aren't going to sell anything that old anyways. So 75, 76. As far as a copy of this presentation, I'm going to have to save it for you. File, and I'll have to share it with you while you're on this call. Let me download it because I don't have this downloaded to my computer. It's going to come out as a Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. You guys okay with that? Give me a second. I'm trying to save it. Download. There it is. Okay. Give me a second. And what I'll do in the chat section, I'll send you a link, and I see something in the chat now. It's opening. Okay. There's a park in York County that will not release any park rules and application except directly to the proposed buyer after the contract is ratified. Wow. Thanks, Judith. That is strange, isn't it? I think that's odd. Yes,
I
I'll
just had
share the
one today on that.
presentation. Really? They
I
won't
had
give
one
it to you?
this morning. I called up the park and they said unless we had the acceptance from the seller, then they have to bring all the finished paperwork, and in the agreement saying, depends on what they do, and they have to interview all the people that are going to live there. And
Wow.
I said, well, it's just the one guy because he's not married yet. Well, I have to have her too. If she's going to live there, I need her. Is there any pets that's extra? I'm like, yeah, they have 2 dogs. Well, I need to know the type of dog before I'll agree that they can move in there. I was like, whoa,
Wow.
yeah. So he backed out. He said, I want no parts of that.
Yeah, it's a shame that they make this so difficult for people.
Yep.
Okay, I think
And
I
the poor
find,
girl who owns it, she inherited it. It was her family, and she's only asking like 34.9, and she can't dump it, but nobody will touch it.
no one will, that's a shame.
Nope.
That's too bad. Okay, I'm about to send you a link here, then I'll go through the chat box and and I'll keep going through the chat box and okay. Give me a second. There we go. it's gonna be a Dropbox link. The Dropbox link will expire after, I think it's 90 days. So go in and take it as soon as you can.
Hey, do you know anything about like tiny houses? Are they considered like a mobile home, I wonder?
I do not. I would
Okay,
assume they have a VIN. I would assume that since they're on a frame,
right,
I would assume that they're a VIN.
okay.
All I know is that a tiny house would be too tiny for me to live in. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. And then there's one here that says, and this is from Jeanette. Can all modules have their VIN number retired? What were you trying to say there, Jeanette? Modulars or,
Like after a certain date, can you still retire them?
yeah, sure. Yeah, it doesn't matter how old they are, if you're gonna sell it as real property. Glenn. Are you okay with that, Glenn? Your question was, can you say more about title being retired? We talked about that. Glenn's still here? There you are.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that was my question.
I
Thanks.
see you shaking your head now. The box is blocking you. Thanks, Judith. That's really good to know. So by them checking to make sure that that park will allow you to put those in bright, that's a good point. You do need to check out the rules and regulations. And I don't know why they want to make it difficult for buyers. So, and I shared the link in chat. If everybody wants to go grab it, that is this presentation. Next time, before I do it next time, I'll make sure these typos are corrected. And I'm going to get that date. Was it Richard that said 76, June of 76, right? I want to get that, research that date. I have that in my pre-licensing materials. Let me pull that out and put it in the slides next time. It's important to know, I think, the date. Anything else? Anybody else have anything else? No? Okay. Well, thank you all. Thank you all for attending. If you have any questions, let me know. You can always look up my email address and cell phone number through the roster, through home sale. So let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks,
Okay,
Eddie.
I'm letting you, you're welcome. I'm letting you all go 10 minutes early. Don't tell anybody.
Okay.
See ya. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.